Welcome to the round table. I am Jennifer Eller, and my co-host, Mike Hill, is with us. And then between us, we have Mike and Tammy Dennis today.
Yay! Yay, Tammy! Yay, Tammy!
Woo-hoo!
We figured out before the podcast that Tammy said she wanted to do most of the talking.
Okay, perfect. She
Yeah, she said that like she was ready to have long conversations on the podcast.
She is. She kept
I don't have
talking
to
about
worry
it.
because he'll just.
Is it like that? So if you go out, so if you guys go out on a date with other people, does he have to like keep the conversation going with other people, or you?
He doesn't have to. He just does.
You just
I do. I do. I love people.
Yeah.
He does.
I do. I love people. And like, so she always says when we go to Walmart, it's like a class reunion.
Really?
knows
You see a bunch of
everyone.
people?
Man, I see people
Everyone.
every time we even travel out of state. I have people, they're like, Mike. And I'm like, how do you? And she goes, this is ridiculous.
Like, are you popular in like a good way?
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not.
So you're like famous in Huntington?
I'm probably related.
Are you
It's more
both famous in
infamous.
Huntington?
It's probably more infamous.
You guys are both from Huntington?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you know each other forever?
No, he's younger than I am.
So much younger. That's what she always says.
What do you mean
much
so
younger.
much? What's so much?
She always
6
says, she goes, well, it's just such an age difference. I said, after 30, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't.
Like,
6
what's the
years.
age difference? Am I allowed
6
to
years.
ask? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't feel like it
So
does
I didn't.
matter.
It
No.
just that it was far enough apart that I didn't know him in school
Okay.
because we were far enough apart.
Okay. Never even heard of him.
I
Know
would
anybody
hope
from
not.
his
I
family?
mean, I knew who he was back in the day when we'd go out on the weekends, but
Back in the day.
Yeah.
back in the day, like a
Man,
long
dude,
time
I
ago.
chased this woman for 11 years.
What?
11 years. And man, it's awesome. Like, looking back
chasing?
on it.
The chasing
Yeah,
was
well,
awesome?
the thing about it is like, so every time we would make the attempt, timing just didn't work.
What's make the attempt?
Try to date.
Oh.
So I met her through, I was working with her sister and my now brother-in-law, but Kevin and I were really, really tight. And so just going through some stuff, and we went out with Kevin and quote, had a couple beers, and I said, yeah, just hanging out with you. He said, well, my sister and, or Candy and her sister is going to come. I don't care. I'm here to hang out with you. She walked in, swear to
You no longer cared about your friend.
No,
You only had eyes for...
I did.
Yeah.
That is the craziest thing. Like, music stopped. She doesn't believe me. Music stopped. And I knew
Look
at
at
that
that.
point I was there.
Huh?
I-
You're like, I saw her, I'm marrying her.
I told her mom that.
He told my mom that.
Seriously? 11 years of chasing. You told her in the
Oh,
beginning.
In the beginning.
Were you
told-
running away from him?
It just wasn't. Like he was going through some things, and I didn't want to be a distraction for him dealing with what he needed to deal with, and so
Okay.
I was all about being friends.
Okay.
And we developed a really good friendship and
Best friends.
stayed close for a really, really long time. And then probably the 11, 12 years. And then timing just worked. And so
She just stopped running so fast. I finally
I
caught
got
up.
tired.
Yeah, we'll get to all that. So tell us a little bit about you guys. What do you love to do? What's going on in your life? Are you readers? Are you TV? I know you're Harley riders.
Harley
Yeah.
riders for
Right.
sure. Football is and
University of Michigan fans.
Go
Sorry
Blue.
for all of you
Blue.
Ohio State people.
go blue. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I loved seeing
America won. They lost.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous. I mean, do you watch movies?
You know,
He's a big movie buff.
I used to be. I don't really have time. Grandkids.
No, I know, but pick a movie you used to like.
Oh my gosh. I can pretty much quote everything from 90s on. That's terrible. It's terrible.
You don't have like one that sticks out?
No. Well, one
How about
of my,
around this time of year? Is there a movie that you always have to watch this time of year? Christmas time?
No, not really.
You don't have a Christmas movie? You're not the Die Hard guy? See, I would think
That's
you,
definitely-
if I'm looking at you, I'm like, Christmas movie, Die Hard.
Definitely Die Hard. That is absolutely a Christmas
I've
movie.
never seen Die Hard, but why is that a Christmas movie?
That's
Oh.
a big debate. It's a big debate.
Because it's like,
It's during Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening
It
during
happens during
Christmas time.
Yeah, and their Christmas party, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely. But no, I
It's
don't.
the edgy side of Christmas. You've
okay.
never seen it,
No.
Jennifer?
Yeah, it's a must watch. I mean, it really touches you here.
Do you have a movie around Christmas that you watch?
No.
Nothing.
I mean, of course. I mean, my family likes Christmas Vacation and Elf, and
Okay,
those
but you
stuff.
don't have one that like you're gonna sit down and watch as a
No,
make sure
I
as a
don't
family.
like watch a lot of TV.
No, I know, but it's Christmas time.
I
Okay, no family tradition that way.
just those movies occasionally.
Do you watch the Macy's Day Parade?
I do not.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you have watch all the floats?
Oh, with the grandkid, man, that is great. That is magical now. Like before, with my kids, with my daughters, they're like, "Yay!" Like
Yeah.
that was as much as I got. And then with the grandkids, they literally would scream at each other. It's on. And Corbin's like, "This is awesome." I'm like, "You're 7. You're still into it." Yes.
Because didn't you ever have the Christmas traditions? Like, don't you remember as a kid, like you're sitting there and your parents would have the news on and it would be like, you're watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed, like all
Charlie
of
Brown's
those.
Oh yeah,
Christmas.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, they spotted, like they comes on the news and they
Yep.
would talk about how they spot them and you have to hurry
Yeah.
and go to bed. And then like the tradition at our house is that, you leave out Pepsi and cookies, and you come out the next morning and
Perfect.
you always figure out that that's obviously what your dad likes, right? Like, whatever's left out for Santa is whatever your dad likes. So obviously you figured out your dad likes Pepsi and cookies or whatever that stuff was. Didn't you have that?
Oh, when I'm growing up, I sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that with our kids when they were little, and
Did
we
you?
made reindeer food.
What
and so,
did you? You
What
put
is
it out on the
reindeer
lawn?
food?
Yeah, we just sprinkle it out there with glitter and oats and like something else. But I
Was
did
it
with
gone
them.
in the morning?
I don't remember what we did actually.
Eric out there raking it up.
Raking it up.
See, I can't imagine Eric putting anything in his lawn that would mess it up. Did you ever hear the story about the first time we met?
No.
Went to their house. They invited us over for supper, and Sherry and I go over there. And first you pull up, and you're like, okay, his yard is like a golf course.
Oh no.
Then you
It's
used
striped and it's green.
and you used to
and-
walk through their garage, at least we did, to get into their house. And Eric has, like, everything has its place. You open up the toolbox, and every wrench has, it's like a wrench and a little label. It's not just that the wrenches
That's my
are in order.
dream.
We go and have supper. Eric comes out and like, man, your yard's cool. And I thought he'd just be like, oh, yeah, we like the yard. He brings out this binder. A binder.
He has a binder.
A
for his
binder.
yard.
Of his yard. And it's not like it's 2 acres. I mean,
It's in 1 acre.
yeah, I mean, it's a really nice, but he brings it out and like, this is my soil test and this is what I put on last year. And this is,
I don't have that effort.
oh yeah. So that's why I said, I thought somebody put reindeer stuff in your yard. No way, Eric. No
That
way.
is
he's
awesome.
a-
Yeah, if that was the case, like we are going to fail. Eric would be very disappointed in us.
Yeah, no, I already realized that. I'll never live up to Eric's standards. Your car will never be clean enough. Your garage will never be clean enough. Your mower, you go to look at his mower, you'd swear he never mowed.
It's brand new.
Yeah,
I will
mean,
tell you, with age, he's not like that anymore.
it's not like that
No,
anymore.
no.
Did he used to wax it though? I mean, did he?
He did. I mean, that was even before. Yeah, so 10 years we've owned a business, so he
Yeah.
doesn't have the time that he used to do the things that he
Yeah.
did at home. Our yard still looks really nice, but
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it
mower's
was
dirty.
super impressive.
Yeah.
I was like, I always want to
Yeah.
be like people like that, but I just figured out I could never be like
Well,
that.
we all have our-
Yeah, it's so when you look at it, you're like, that's a big mountain. Like that's a big mountain.
Yeah, there's so
I usually do our mowing.
Do
She
ya?
does.
And
yeah.
if he mows, I'm like, you missed.
you miss it. Yeah,
You
you
need to
didn't
go
stripe it
over that.
right.
Oh
You
yeah,
didn't
Like,
get it
yeah.
I'm
right.
If you're
super
off a
funny
little
about
bit,
it.
like our son Brandon, he was trying to do it, and we had this ridiculous mower. It's a long story with the mower. Anyway, the mower was going, and then the mower one wheel was just off a little bit.
Yeah.
And he thought he was doing a great job. He's like, man, this is great, and his mom's out there going,
Yeah.
I will walk out into the yard and be going,
she absolutely
Like,
will.
I can't stand it if
and
it's
so
not
then
right.
and instead of just backing up, it's like, no, you gotta come back and catch it on the same line.
Yeah,
so I
no, yeah,
understand
right.
that.
Yeah.
I understand. Like,
Yeah.
not for me. Not for me. I'm just like, get it done. I got other things to move to do.
Yeah. So did you have Christmas traditions growing up?
The one that I remember the most is, and it's something we started last year. We're going to probably expand on it this year, but I remember we were, from the time I was very little, that my dad would always read us the nativity story.
Oh, wow.
And each one of us would get a figurine, and when we got to that point in the story, we would place our figurine however we wanted it.
Really?
In the nativity set, and then Mom would never change it. It stayed that way all year, whether it was right or wrong or whatever.
That's cool.
But yeah, and then last year we started reading the story to our grandkids. And this year we're going to get the full nativity set so that they can do that.
That is awesome.
And the coolest part is they were just like they're telling us the story. So we're reading it, they're telling us. And I'm like, we might actually stop this whole bad roll that we were on.
I thought about starting up the tradition again that Sherry's dad had. So Sherry's dad would have gifts under the tree from Santa Claus, so you'd open it up and it'd be like a 44 Magnum, or something.
Santa
so
Claus is great.
He would go out and buy something, wrap it up, and put to Chuck from Santa.
You have to have Santa wrapping paper too.
Yeah, no, I'm
for
like,
those
I'm going to
presents
do
only.
this. I'm going to go buy me a gun or something and be like, I cannot believe Santa. I mean,
Why?
How did he even know?
Yeah.
How did he know that I wanted,
Yeah, exactly.
a Colt Anaconda?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean,
that's practical.
yeah,
It's
I
practical
mean,
at least.
I didn't know Santa could read minds, but guys, listen,
He knows
Santa,
if you just believe.
yeah, I must have been really nice
Yes.
this year. Yeah, wrap it up that way.
I don't think that would work because I know all my son-in-laws, they would just take the things that I would want. So because they have the same interest, I would just be like, "This is wonderful." Like you, I'd be like, "This is great." It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you guys so I go pheasant hunting with my whatever day we went last week. So he's with Jim's dad.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking, we're pheasant hunting. Those two are reminiscing, and I'm like, you guys were talking about so much stuff, like Jimmy Dean and Bobby V and all of these like people that you knew, like, or that you're related to, and then like I'm like, I don't know a half of your story, who you are, how you grew up, because just a little bit that I heard, there's a lot of people involved in your story or you guys' story and how that all works. So
It's mostly his story. I pretty much grew up. My parents were Christians. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night.
So again, you're from Huntington.
From Huntington.
Right. So you
Yep.
grew up
Yep.
in a church. Where did you go here?
We went, it used to be Grayston years and years and years ago when
okay.
I was very little. Then we
Okay.
moved to Good Shepherd, which was the old
Oh,
monastery.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went there for years.
So faith was a part of your
For
journey
sure.
growing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
My entire life.
Right.
And Bible quiz team, youth ministry, like
Okay.
highly involved in everything. Got to the point where I had my first kid. Things just didn't sit right. It wasn't anything that anybody did. It was just, I just didn't feel like I was getting what I needed.
Okay.
So kind of fell away from everything.
So yeah, again, because I honestly don't know. So I mean, if you don't mind me asking, you
No,
can
it's
say
fine.
whatever you want. So going through high school, you find a guy, right?
Yes.
And
It was in college.
okay. So after high school, so faith was still a part of that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you end up
I
getting
went to Huntington College for a couple
Okay.
of years.
got married, didn't get married.
Got married.
Okay.
That didn't work.
Okay. And that's when you had the kid.
No,
Okay.
this was my second husband.
Okay, got it. So
And then-
got married. It wasn't good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
He worked all the time. I never saw him.
Okay.
Never saw him at all.
Right.
So I would be home by myself
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
So met the kid's dad, had all three of my kids through him.
Okay.
We went to church. It just wasn't the best marriage. He wasn't very supportive.
Okay.
It just was, I don't know. It just
Yeah,
didn't
for sure.
work.
Yeah,
Didn't
and then
work.
at this point, your journey of faith, your journey of from what it was to where,
kind of fell off.
yeah, right,
For
during
a
that
long time,
A
and
lot of
then-
people's story,
Right,
Like,
exactly.
we have this good section, and then we just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We
Just
level
life,
out.
life kind of took hold, and
Right.
other things became more important, and
Right.
so a lot of years later, after I got tired of running away from him, apparently, we ended up getting together, and we just, from the very beginning, we had said, we just really need to find a church. Like,
Okay.
I really felt like we needed to get back to the church.
Okay.
And he was the same. I don't know if he was quite as gung-ho about it. He never
Oh,
was
I
against
definitely
it. It wasn't, we talked about it
Sure.
some, but we didn't talk a lot. But then
We talked
his
instead
daughter,
of did, though.
right,
Yeah.
for a while. His daughter invited us to come with her here. So we did, we had 3 or 4 different churches we wanted to try out, and we've never left. This was the first one we came to. So
Well, you're very comfortable in our house. I already said that. You're very comfortable in our house because every time something comes up, it's something you've taught on, something we've just, or we walk in and it's Gut Punch Sunday now. It is now, hey, guess what? We just talked about that all the way up till 3 o'clock in the morning, got here, and then here's God talking through Mike. And then like, I'm listening.
Yeah.
You got me.
it did become quite a joke because it seemed like, and that was one reason why I think we stayed, is because it seemed like when we would have conversations at home about big life things, the next Sunday, that's what you're talking about. And it's just like, and the joke got to be, Mike sure is comfortable in our living room because it seemed like you just knew.
Right.
And it could be a totally different message to someone else in the
Sure.
congregation, but that's how we needed to hear it.
Right.
So,
So you have 3 kids, then you end up getting a divorce. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Yeah, so you end up getting a divorce.
Yep.
And then from that time, like this is when the whole 11-year, I'm still trying to put it.
so I had met him,
Jeez.
I don't even know.
I was going through, like, I was coming out of a marriage myself.
Okay.
It was, I had 2 girls, and then there was that break.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been, Morgan was still in school.
It had to have been almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think we're
Yeah.
about there. So, and then the funny thing is we just celebrated 3 years of marriage 20 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
It just
Oh, really? So
seems-
you guys have been married for 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot longer. Like I don't.
It seems like a lot.
It does,
It
because
just
it's
seems
just-
like it's just been like I've never experienced the feeling of being married. I never got charged like I'm charged now, and like the original design that you completely transformed our relationship with the words that came out of your mouth with all that. It all the way down to our sons and and to our because like I think right after you, that was powerful to me, and I was like, never heard it spoke like that. My dad, not a nice person. So most I got was, hey, duck, because I'm gonna throw a right hand.
Yeah, right.
That kind of
Right.
dad. So when I hear that from somebody that that I don't know, and they're telling me these things, and I'm like, well, I have totally done this wrong. Just totally done this wrong. And then I looked at her and I was like, I'm failing you. And we had some really good discussions on that, bringing the kids in after that, because I'm like, if they weren't there, I'm like, sit down. You are going to watch this. Like, I don't know what you're going to get from it, but sit down. And that's what really keyed us into where I think that all of us now are marching directly towards. There, we have our shakeups. We have some things going on.
Don't we all?
We have our shakeups, but the thing is it's like this place, the people that are here, incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible. What's happening here is beyond words. I can't tell you what it means just to me, but the relationships and the openness and the way people just surround you. I had to redefine friendship. I really did. Like, I had to redefine friendship. I brothers, sisters, those things that you just go, and you hear people say, oh, he's just my brother in Christ.
Right. Yeah, so let's go, so we can kind of bring it together for the audience.
Yeah.
So, Mike, if you go way back, so obviously you grew up, it wasn't the same story.
Definitely not.
Right, so you didn't grow up in a Christian home.
No, my mom had some beliefs, but she had her own walk, and she'd wander in and out, just like all of us.
Yeah.
But my dad, my real dad, I was adopted.
Okay.
My mom, but wonderful Alder. He took me in, and anyway, but my real dad teased you. Hey, church boy, hey this, hey that. And then, so I thought, that's what guys do. We're we're heathens basically. We're just out there to beat
Sure.
people up, drink some beer, just be brash and do all that stuff. Ride Harley, shoot guns.
Right. So you go through high school with that.
Yes.
Right. And so then I thought somewhere in your story you moved away.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Moved to
So-
Arizona.
Okay. And you got married before, got married down there.
No, so yeah, I've been all over the map.
And again, you don't have to explain it all.
No,
because
no.
What I want people to see is a little bit of a background, but then also to be able to navigate what you guys have worked through. Because I think there's some wisdom that couples, because regardless of where your story is, all marriages, all raising of kids, all trying to figure out how to do blended family, like that's a reality
It
of
is.
today, you know, and trying to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, so I moved away, and it was a
To
different.
get married?
Not to her. Yeah.
No, right. But
yeah. Got married, left.
It
Got
was to
married
get
and
away
left.
from the situation.
Yeah, bad situations that was
Okay.
here. I mean, went down there. I had an accident too. I'm mostly metal in the back. You know, so cold here kills me.
Right.
So doctor says go to Arizona. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go to Arizona. Meet somebody out there. Do that.
So you weren't married when you moved out there?
No.
You met somebody out there. Okay.
Yeah, and so we, it just didn't work. Only just because my kids were here, her kids were there. We could never be whole, and I couldn't put her also through the hole that I felt if she would have moved here. So we both came to that conclusion, like this just
Wait a
isn't
second. I
working.
think I missed something. So you were married here and had kids?
Yes,
And then
I'm
moved
sorry.
away?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I missed that point.
Yeah.
So when
I-
we met, he was going through a divorce from the first.
yeah.
Got it.
Like I said, messy, and
Messy the divorce, or just messy in general?
just life messy. You know,
Okay.
just life messy.
Got it.
So then, but I always stayed in touch with her because she was that one friend. Like
Okay.
we really did develop that kind of friendship.
So
where-
you guys were friends and you moved to Arizona.
Yes.
So you guys are talking during this time. Okay.
Not a lot, but enough to just stay in contact.
have
Because I didn't want to
communication.
be an issue in
yeah, we
his
didn't want to.
marriage.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, we weren't.
Yeah.
That was we want
No,
to make
for
sure we
sure.
were the
Yeah.
farthest
Right.
from that. But it is, I kept explaining it is possible. Men and women have friendships.
Yeah.
Right.
But she was one of those people that like, hey, you're going off the rails. Like, what are you doing? Just kind of guide me back. And I knew that if I just picked up the phone, I'd at least get that because I was out in a different place, different people I didn't grow up with. So
Right. So when you moved from here, you're getting away from messy divorce, whatever that situation is. You moved to Arizona,
yes,
right? And so how long are you in Arizona?
roughly about, I think it's right around 7-8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years.
And so during all of that time, you guys are communicating?
Just,
Wow.
it wasn't a lot. It wasn't frequent. It was just checking in. How are you doing?
Right.
Like, he seemed to always know when I needed to hear from him, and I hopefully knew when he needed to hear from me. And
Right.
we just always had that connection.
Right.
And then when
So did you get married out in Arizona?
no, we got married here.
No, he's
No,
talking.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No,
Yeah.
so you had to, and again, I don't say this like flippantly, but you had a wife here, you had kids, you went out there, got married.
Yep.
That one,
Yeah, it just didn't go. Like I
Okay.
said, just didn't go
Right.
because, like I said, I didn't want to. It's just hard. When you're away, it's hard. You
right.
can't-
And still at all of these points, for you, faith has not been a part of
Actually, it was. So
Oh,
I
okay.
got baptized and saved out there. I
okay.
met Mark Martin. He was pastor out there, and he great teacher,
Okay.
And I didn't even know he was a pastor. He stopped me one day and he says, "I'm supposed to just talk to you," and I said, "Okay." Hi, and then he's just like, so for some reason, I'm just supposed to talk to you, find out if you're okay, and would you pray with me? And I said, well, yeah, and we did this at a Little League baseball game.
So was it somebody, I mean, again, just so we can put this in perspective, was it somebody saying, like, have you seen The Blind yet?
No, I want to.
Yeah, so in The Blind, there's people saying to pastors like, hey, you should probably go talk to Phil. Right. Or was this just like this guy randomly feels like he's supposed to come and talk to you?
No one knew him. Yeah.
Wow.
No one knew
That's
him.
cool.
It was like and so and then I got saved out there, and
Because were you crazy out there? Not crazy,
Definitely
but were you
crazy.
like,
Crazy
yeah,
is a good word.
Yeah, crazy is a good word.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how to put it, but I've heard you use the word
Yeah.
off the rails. Like,
Yeah, it's really just reckless. Like I just have lived reckless. Like
what
I
did
said,
you struggle with the most?
Rage,
Okay.
rage,
So fighting,
fighting.
drinking.
Yep,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, it got for a long time. I was even fighting for money. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just a way of life for me. And then that broke apart, and I came back here, and I just said,
So did you come back here for Tammy? Like,
came back here for Corbin.
His
That's my
grandson, his first grandson.
okay.
Yeah, when my daughter called me, I had a great job, man. I was a mountain guide out there. I took people camping, got to play cowboy, shoot things for a living off the back of a horse.
Right.
Wonderful. My
Right.
daughter calls and she says, "When are you moving back?" I said, "Never." And she said, "First grandson?" I said, 6 months. And then when
And at this point, you're divorced.
Yeah.
Out there, so
Yeah.
no kids out there in
No.
Arizona. Okay.
No. Yep. And then we came back here, and I knew where I needed to be.
Okay.
And she took some convincing. I mean, who wouldn't? Look at this. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. This was just one of those things where I just knew where I needed to be, and we talked and never stopped. And it was just right where we both needed, exactly when we needed it. And like we said, if we would have gotten together, well, we'd never appreciated it. We never would
It
have
probably
done
wouldn't
it.
have worked.
Yeah.
And the fact that we both were screaming, "I want to be in church," was great.
Yeah. So did that just happen? Like you show back up and you guys have been talking, and then
Well,
it's just
I'd
like,
known, and we had some conversations just about where our lives were going, and it took me some convincing because I was just done being married because nothing was working,
Right.
and it just had been somewhat bitter for me, and so it did take him a little bit of time to convince me that we needed to at least make an attempt, and
right.
it took a few tries. Like, we haven't been together from that moment. We've split a couple times, but
We might be a little stubborn.
Yeah, so let's just talk through that a little bit. Not the stubborn part, but let's talk through the whole idea of, because there's many people in your situation,
Right.
They've been through it, had great dreams and that,
Yeah.
aspirations of being married. What was it in marriage? It was just like, this isn't turned out this way. I don't want it again.
For me, it was the guys I was married to just didn't do what I felt like the head of a household should do.
Okay.
It was every responsibility was on me, including the job, the
Right.
kids, and I'm okay with raising the kids and
Sure.
taking care of the house. I'm good with that.
Right.
But when I'm working nonstop, it's
Right.
impossible
Right.
to keep
Didn't
up with
treat you like a
everything.
queen.
No. Well, no. And I don't, it's not that I expected that, but
But you should expect
She
that.
should
That's
I
what
should,
God.
I
That's what
know.
God says. Like, you're the
Yeah.
queen.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean you can do whatever you want.
Right.
But the point is, the man should look at his wife and like, you're the queen. So
Right.
I'm going to make sure that you don't have to accept the title. You don't have to do any of it. But it's our job to say you're the queen.
Right.
So you didn't have that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But whenever anything went wrong, it was always the attack.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it anymore. And it wore me down pretty good
Right.
for a long time. And then I got so used to, I raised all three of my boys by myself.
Right.
And I was highly independent. And that was a lot of our issue at the beginning was, I don't need you to do that. I'll go do the brakes on my own car. I
Right.
don't need you to do that. I'm just telling you where I'm going.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So-
that was the thing. Like,
It
she's
actually-
like, brakes needed to be done. So I go out to do the brakes. She goes, whoa, I'll do the brakes. I'm like,
Well, so did you want to get remarried? So you've been through two too.
yeah. I did not.
Okay.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I knew I
what
wanted.
was it in a woman that you couldn't find, or what was the breaking points in your marriage? Like,
Trust.
you couldn't trust
I
them?
couldn't trust. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I think that's from early on. My dad, my mom, always there. Always there. but I never could trust because the one person I thought was my hero at that time was not something I should have been doing. So I just didn't trust anybody.
But don't you think that's an issue in general?
Oh, for sure.
I think in general, men are somewhere on the pendulum of not trusting too many people.
For sure. And I think it's well warranted in some cases. But
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I think that with the trust thing, I just wish that we could just talk about that. My goodness, just to have that discussion with your friends.
Right.
Because you walk up there and go, "Hi, Mike, this is Mike, just checking in. Do you trust me?" No, that never happened. But I think that's one of the open dialogue, and that's what drew me to her so much. She was like, "So you don't trust me, huh? Why?"
Right.
And the first time I was ever asked why, I was like, I don't know. But I was waiting for somebody to ask me.
Right.
But I didn't know.
Yeah, so talk about, for everybody that's listening, so you guys obviously face an uphill battle right from the beginning. Like, you have experiences, you're bringing experiences to the table, which is a lot of people today.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this isn't probably 25 years ago, this wasn't as common, but it's for sure common now.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you're bringing the challenges of, I had a husband or two that were not what they're supposed to be. I had a wife or two that weren't supposed to be. Can we accomplish? And I think this is the cool thing, because you brought it up in the beginning. Can we ever be in our marriage and our kids what God created us to be? Because I won't say we messed up the first two, but we didn't do that part that way. Can we be an example
That's
of a godly marriage even after a couple tries? Because I think a lot of people have given up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I tried it with the first one, I tried it with the second one, it didn't work, and even on the third one, we
Just be
God
done.
surely isn't going to honor anything that we do because we didn't do it right in the beginning, or whatever that looks like. I think a lot of people feel that way. So when you come into that, how did you guys overcome some of those barriers or some of those challenges? I mean, what was some of the greatest strengths in your relationship in the beginning, and what were some of the greatest
Communication.
struggles?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you guys were good
Communication.
at communicating.
Yeah. And when just like everything else, whenever something great happened, I couldn't wait to rush home.
Right.
Whenever something bad, also couldn't wait to rush home.
Right.
And I think the communication, hey, we're both on this shaky ground. What do we do?
Right.
You know, where do we build? And then we just come to that conclusion to both of us is like, whatever we've tried to build has failed. Why not give it away?
Right.
Yeah, God wants it. Let's give it to him.
Right.
And that really helped. That helped us a ton because I think that we both thought that we had to shoulder everything because that's just where we'd been. And then we realized that this whole time, all we do is just surrender.
And was some of your greatest struggles the independence for both of you? Like you're
More
saying,
for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
More for me, because not only did I have to start relearning how to trust God, I had to let go of control, and I am a total control freak. I'm in a leadership role at my job.
Right.
And so it's my whole career has been, I have to be in control. So that was probably one of the most difficult hurdles for me to get over, and for him, because he didn't understand why I couldn't just let him be the man in the
Right.
relationship and
Right.
fix the cars or whatever. But that was my biggest issue, is I had this huge wall built up, and you're not getting in because I'm going to have to do it by myself anyway.
Right.
She was just waiting for the letdown.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
your bar, every time something fails, your bar gets lowered so much
Right.
that you're like, this is the best it's going to get. And you don't hold each other to a higher standard.
Right.
So, but I think once we started getting more involved in the church and really started understanding that we weren't where we needed to be, it made it that much easier to start holding each other accountable and kind of reshift what our roles were at home.
Right.
Because even now I struggle with, I got it.
Yeah.
You're fine. Go sit down. I got it.
Right. Right.
So
She should tell me to sit down a lot more.
Yeah. So, Mike, talk about this too, because a lot of guys are where you were. You might have an extreme example, right, of like a dad that's, the communication was duck. Others just non-existent, others busy, but God calls us to lead, right? And God calls us, and a lot of times our excuse is we don't have an example, right? I didn't grow up with an example, don't do it. So you're now taking on that as a leadership role, trying to be the man that God's created you to be. What can, as you're for our listeners and the people that are watching, for these guys out here that are at these impressionable ages of like, how do I overcome, right? Because that's where they're at.
Yeah.
How do I overcome a history of not seeing it? How do I overcome even when I wasn't? Because you've overcome both.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I went out and didn't live it. And now I've changed. I mean, that's what I hear in your story is that you have dramatically changed how you feel like your role sets up. What can you say to people who are listening or people that are watching? Like, this was a changing point for me. This is the thing that got me to the place where I'm not going to make excuses for my past. I'm not going to make excuses for my dad. I'm going to do it. Like, what got you there?
What I just really, at first it was live in spite of my dad. It was completely do everything that I was not given.
Okay.
And when I decided to do that, it was like, it felt like I was walking up a river for sure. Like it was just flowing and it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But every day I had to set forth, and I honestly did. Every day I get in the mirror, and today someone's looking at me. Today somebody's talking to me. Somebody's listening to me, most importantly. And I had to actually tell myself that every day because, I mean, when you get back into that sinful easy, man, that's comfortable.
Right.
And then when you start to change that and make that, you know, to live intentionally, looking down at my girls and her boys, and then realizing that that's not the only generation we got. Now I got those grandbabies, and boy, grandbabies love them. And that, seeing my kids start to struggle with the things that I struggled with, and then hating every minute of that, going, look, if you just listen. And then that little voice is like, look, you could have done that a long time ago. You could have listened to the generation. But I think that my biggest thing is you've just got to stand and not let anybody take your feet from you after that.
Right. You made a conscious decision to stand and be different.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
And I would say in listening to you, to somewhat be humbled, because, you know what I mean? To lead means we have to be humble,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like, true leadership is a very, like, sometimes people see leadership as, I'm just going to be the man. Well, part of being the man is being humbled, right? And understanding this whole idea of how to be a servant leader, how to be somebody that, you know what, being a man doesn't always mean you got it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I think those are important lessons for us to learn inside of that. So any challenge in blending family? I know for a lot of people, that's like, how do you do that, you know, when your kids are older, or even, you know?
I think we've been pretty lucky for the most part. Our kids treat each other like brother and sister. Like for the most part, I mean, we've got a few minor things going on right now, but for the most part, they blended well together. Sure. The hardest part for me was the girl's mom. I developed a friendship with her for them because I felt like I don't want
took
them.
Something.
It does. It did. Because I knew who she was, and I knew a little bit about her. I didn't know her well. And he would tell me a few horror stories in the very beginning, and I just told him, look, let me make my own decision. I can look past a lot, you know, let me deal with that situation the way I need to. So I developed a friendship with her and got pretty close for a while.
Was that hard?
It was hard.
Was she like, who are you? Like, why are you calling me?
No, actually, for the most part, she saw when things really started, we started becoming more friends.
Okay.
She saw how I treated the girls.
Okay.
And I never treated them any differently than I treated my boys. The hard part for me is I can rip my boys' butt.
Yeah.
I can't do that with the girls. I have a really hard time, you know.
Right.
But it's different because they're grown now. I raised the boys and I got in their butt a little bit here and there, but I didn't raise the girls. So it's just a different relationship. And now the relationship is they come to me for advice. They
Yeah.
come to talk to me, in certain situations. And
So you made
which is-
yourself available.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And I always tried to, even when he and I weren't together, I would still go visit the girls. I would go see the grandkids because to me that didn't change. My relationship with them didn't change. And so it just
I mean, I don't mean to pry into your business, but like that takes a lot. Like you're
does.
saying you guys were together, you're putting in the effort into his daughters, then you weren't together,
right.
and you still did that?
Yes.
That's what I said. I got a rock star.
That's a good woman.
I got a
I
rock
mean,
I
I'm just
they
saying.
had no
that
fault in
takes-
anything that
No, I know. I know. But that's not normal.
I know it's
it's
That is
yeah.
for sure not normal.
Well, I mean, and she came to me and she's like, "Look, you're gonna have to befriend her too. Like, you've got to learn how
Your
to."
ex?
Yeah,
Oof.
and like she'll
Wow.
come up for dinner and things like that. And
What?
And
Yeah, she used to come over more than
Forgiveness-
she does now. But if we have birthday parties at our house, she's always invited. We don't count her out of anything for the most part.
I think that if we are to forget, if we ask for forgiveness, we're supposed to forgive also.
No, I get.
And
You can say all of those things.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
tough.
know you're
I know.
right.
It's
not.
tough.
I mean, I have no doubt that everything that you're saying is absolutely true. Usually,
Yeah.
it's messy enough that those things never happen.
I got the secret is you mess them up a long time ago, and then it gets easier when you get older.
I'm
think
just saying
though-
that is a good. It's a great example of living out the idea of putting your back to humble, right? Like you had to put some of your own, because that would be me. Like I would have to put some of my feelings aside, to be able to be like, okay, what's really important is the kids, not me.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right, and that
But
was
that's
a lot
a-
of conversations. We literally had tons of those conversations. Like, it doesn't matter. Our feelings don't mean nothing. What matters is what's happening, and if it's facts, these are facts. So that's what we're gonna do.
Can I pry into more of your business?
Yeah.
Is she a believer?
She
She
has
was.
gone to church off and on.
We're
I think
hoping.
it relies more on if she's dating someone that's going to church.
Okay.
Unfortunately, she's been invited a few times.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Like, I
Right.
mean, in that situation, surely she's got to be impacted that the way you guys are treating her, right?
Yeah, we're not as close now as we were at the beginning, only just because of, I think, just life.
No,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it's, but I
I
didn't want to be the stepmom that had nothing good to say about their
Yeah,
real
for
mom,
sure.
because no matter what the relationship is between them, that's still their mom.
Right.
And she deserves that role. And I didn't ever want to take that role. I wanted to be a supplement to that role.
Right.
So
And I think they both would seek each other out in issues, and that was really nice. I mean, like, the girls were going through something that dad probably wouldn't understand. They could bounce it off each other, and it worked. I mean, it is working. I mean, there's some growing pains with it, of course, but
Yeah, I mean, is it the same with your husband?
no,
No.
no.
Okay.
There was falling out with him and one of my sons that he took way too far.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
don't want to go into things that
The
not
boys
in my
have tried
bu-
reaching out to him, and he's had nothing for them. So
Yeah.
Mike is dad to them,
I love
basically.
that. I'm not.
and-
Don't. That sounds terrible. I love that. No, I don't love that. I love the fact that they look at me like that because I had girls. I always I wanted boys so bad. I wanted boys so bad, and my daughters would tease me all the time, and I'm like, well, I got Morgan. She's going to be my boy, and. But then we got the boys, and so I was kind of doing the same thing. I didn't understand that relationship between
Sure.
them, and then she kind of filled me in, and then I let the boys come to me a little bit more.
Right.
Because I think that in my eyes, there's two roles for a father's: correction and there's counsel, and we're way past the correction spots.
Right.
So be there for them and then accept what they're giving me. And see what I can do to help that situation, but definitely didn't want to step on toes just like her. But man, it is so nice when every now and then they'll call me dad. And they don't really call me dad, but when they do, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's.
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest thing for both of us was understanding where the boundary was as a step parent.
Sure.
Because obviously he's not going to want to discipline the boys. They're by the time we got together, they
I
were
mean, I
old
do
enough.
now.
They were old enough that
Yeah.
like he said, they were past that discipline stage. But
Yeah, I was
Right.
just the guy at that time, and seeing it come together. Obviously, it wasn't nothing. I mean, yeah, we put the work in, but it wasn't from us.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
That was the coolest part. And now all the boys and the girls, they're going to church here, and it's something that I've never got to experience as a unchurched. I mean, church but unchurched.
No, for sure.
I never got to experience that. We didn't just go on Sundays and that was it. We talk about it. Man, we are like I'd probably say 6 out of the 7 days, and we're waiting for Sunday.
Right.
You know, because we need a new topic.
yeah.
And we're trying to practically put that in as we go. And Jim Nunley, and I'm bouncing things off of Jimmy. He's bouncing things off of me. I've just never experienced this. And she's like, well, that's kind of normal. I'm like, no, that is not normal. And
That's how it should be.
I'm like jumping up and down, and everybody's like, calm down. This happens, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I hope we never lose, because the idea of just coming on a Sunday morning and be like, hey, I did it, and now let's go do whatever. That's just, that sounds awful.
That's all I experienced until this, and like I said, incredible people. Message always gets. One of us always commit, dude, I know he was talking about me. I understand. Yeah. And I mean, that's a literal thing. Like, we will, like, okay, so how'd you feel? We're pretty silent going home. Don't live far, but going home, pretty silent. As soon as we get to the door, we're like, okay, what'd you think?
Yeah.
And that, I've never experienced that.
I think the thing that makes Life Church is the people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the people of Life Church are, and I don't even just say this because I planted the church. I mean, it's extraordinary. You don't usually get to see multi-generational. You tend to see a lot of you don't usually get to see cultural, like huge cultural shifts, like people who are ultra wealthy, people that are just getting by, people that are working middle class. We have some people that are white collar, some people that are blue collar. Like, it's, I mean,
a beautiful mesh.
yeah.
It
I mean, and I
just
think that's
works.
what makes it beautiful. I think that's what makes Life Church a real, like, this is when we're all just trying to figure it out, whatever our age is or whatever journey we're on, we're all just trying to get it figured out, and we're going to keep going down that road together. So I think that part's cool. So one of the things that's interesting to me is, so when you guys talk, so obviously you've been married for 3 years. So in the beginning there was some rocky stuff, but today, right? I mean, you're talking about today, and you listen to you guys talk, you see you interact with people. I mean, these are just even the small conversations that I've had. I mean, obviously you're not only both of you individually excited about what God's doing in your life, collectively you're excited about what God's doing in your life together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that, and we can end with this because we're getting close to our time. So together, talk about how God wants to maybe use you guys together as a team, because I always think that's cool. Like, I think individually you guys got great gifts and God's using you in amazing ways, but it's obvious that your story together is as powerful as your story separately, the things that you guys are doing. So maybe some things that you guys do, and I'm not even saying like a ministry or something, but things that you guys have done through your prayer life, through your, devotional life, through your small group life, like whatever that things are. Can you talk to us about some maybe things that you guys do together as a team that are just good for your relationship, but also good for...
Yeah, for sure. Like our small group on Thursday with Chuck and Claudia and everybody, we got Rianne and everybody's out there. That is, to me, that just is like life water to me, because like, you're not accessible because you're like, hey, that'd be cool to ask Mike. They're there.
Yeah.
And then you get all these different things. And we're experiencing them, and she'll go, "Nah, I wouldn't say that," or "I would say," you know. And a lot of times she's like, "Don't say that." But I think that the best thing about this is that we found that nice close knit for us, and we're able to bounce the ideas. Or, hey, I've always wondered this, and you don't get embarrassed about the asking the question. And like, of course, riding our motorcycles, we're everywhere. When Chuck's got that, we're gone.
Yeah.
But that in itself is another way to reach different people, and those are the people that wouldn't necessarily, you know, maybe go to church with us, but I'll take church to them. I'm like, I'm ready to talk.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'll ride, you talk. You just
Yeah, I just think the fact that we have so many things in common that we like to do, you know, we love sports, we love our motorcycles and those type of things. It gives us sometimes opposing opinions or opposing viewpoints that will allow us to understand situations better.
Right.
And I think the thing right now is just trying to work together and set that example as a Christian, solid Christian couple of how, so the kids can see how we're raising, or not really raising anymore, but how we're moving on with the next phase of our life, and how our advice or our things that we tell them, or things that even we tag them in social media, have to do with scripture or have to do with, you know, trusting God and, you know,
just so they don't go through the same things.
Right. Yeah. And the one thing I always say to him is, you know, when we have an issue, is giving it to God's the easy part, not taking it back is the hard part.
That's good.
And he holds me accountable to just let him keep it. Let him, you know, because that's my biggest struggle, is being such a control freak, is I want to take it back. I'm good at giving it, but I want to take it back because it's just not quite timing, or, oh, I can fix that one little thing and then I'll give it back to you.
The arrogance of timing is funny. That is one of the things, because we always want it right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
But I think those things where we don't hide those things between us. We have those discussions in front of the kids, and they can see how we work through issues together, or how, you know, what's a healthy coping mechanism to have, or, you know, I don't know if that really answers your question, but
no, it does. I mean, again, because those are the things that I think everybody out there is looking to just try to figure out and learn. Like, I think that's what everybody's trying to learn from each other, on how to be able to make good decisions and be able to, again, whether it's coming from, because whether you came from, I've been divorced and now I'm remarried, or you just been married, we all need to learn from each other when it comes to relationships and doing relationships well, and trying to figure out, again, my view, but I think scripture supports this. Like, we're always good individually, but together as a team, you know, the ability to be able to talk to each other, be able to communicate, to be able to love on each other well, to be able to encourage, hey, you gave it away, keep it away. Like, those things can only happen in deep relationship, right? Like, you don't get that advice from a buddy. Right. You know, there's something inside of a marriage that's special, whether it's your first, second, or third. Like, there's some, when it's right, you know, and it's good. And it gives us, in my opinion, it gives us the ability, a good marriage gives us the ability to show Christ's love to people through the way we love our spouse. Sacrificial love, communication, relationship. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's a good thing. And I think it's great that you guys can, you know, help your family and other people around you see those same things. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. All right, Jennifer, we're done.
We're done. Oh, golly. All right.
Crazy.
Well, that was good.
50 minutes goes by.
Yeah, it goes quick.
Yeah.
So if you're not a part of our podcast discussion, you can text the word podcast to 260-408-8383. You're just nodding. I see you nodding. You got it right.
I'm seriously impressed that you can memorize it. I mean, I'm always looking at the screen being like, I don't have no idea.
Looking for the cues.
There's no way I could remember that each time.
Yeah, so we'll send you a message, let you know when the episodes drop, and if you want to be part of the discussion, somebody will ask questions, or if you want to be on the podcast, just let us know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and if you want to recommend people, I mean, that's the other thing is
please.
Yeah, recommend people. Yep. Yeah, and again, now we're doing
2 to 3 a week.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of
That's
them.
awesome.
Yeah, so we love it and it's good. So just remember, this will go out. Are we putting this one out tomorrow too? Friday?
No, Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, so this will come out Thursday or Friday. If you're on social media, make sure that when you see it, a couple different things that you can do. So you can share it to your page. So that's one important thing, because then it gets out to a group of people that wouldn't normally be able to see it. We'd love for you to comment, or like when it's on Facebook, and or if you click the link, it'll take you to our YouTube page. So we'd love for people to go to our YouTube page, and be able to comment on there. And most of all, if you're listening and you want to be able to meet Mike and Tammy, make sure that you go on and watch, at least to get a picture of who they are, so that you can come up there. You're second service people.
First.
Or
Are you?
first, yeah.
Okay, first service people. Make sure you come up, say hi. Again, great, encouraging couple. Lots of energy for the gospel. I love it. The idea of, regardless of what's happened in the past, we're moving forward and we're going to let God use us in amazing ways. So make sure you come up and say hi and encourage them in their walk. So again, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks.